All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father, the Most High, our Creator and our power, who the world ignorantly calls God. His name is Yahweh. In the name of His only begotten Son, our Lord, our Savior, and our Deliverer, the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls JC. His name is Yahweh Shai, called Halamla, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Masak Wadash. And double honors unto the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Salutations, peace, blessings, and safety be unto the hopeful elect out there. It's gonna be a real quick lesson, man. Just straight to it. Concerning this Edomite, by the name of, is an agent, man. He's an agent provocateur, and it's clear as day. And really what sparked the lesson, because I've been seeing about this nigga, man. But he recently posted a video speaking on his I guess his encounter with the FBI, because based on the events that's been happening, which if you don't know who Chud the Builder is, pretty much he's a matter of fact, let me first, I guess describe what an agent provocateur is, right? It's really somebody who's hired by the law enforcement or the government or some other entity, organization, whatever you want to call it, who, again, they're hired to induce or provoke individuals or groups of people to, to rebel, or to commit crimes. They're there to incite violence or unrest, right? Somebody who's there to stir shit up, okay? And that's what this guy Chud the Builder is. Now, if you don't know who he is, I ain't really go into too much detail about the dude. I really don't care, but the events of what he's actually doing, it's it's going viral. It's getting a lot of traction, if you will, and it's upsetting a lot of people because this nigga, again, it's an Edomite down there in Texas. He goes around and he approaches so-called black people, right? He approaches Israelites, so-called black people specifically, and he start talking crazy to them. He start his trademark. He says, look at this nigger chimping out, right? Now, you have to know that that's gonna upset a so-called black person. You have to know that that's gonna make them mad because you going out of your way, purposely trying to get so-called black people to act out, to react to the things that you're saying out of your mouth, to make them get violent, so you have a reason to shoot them. Because what he do is he'll go to a black person and he'll be like, so hey, you chimping out? You chimping out or what? Now you had a lot of Sambo ass niggas, right? You had a lot of weak ass, soft ass niggas, so-called black men, who he came up to, and they was laughing. They laughing in his face. They was joking around with him. They was taking it lightly. They didn't really, which I'm not encouraging for anybody to react violently or to attack him or pretty much do anything. I recommend, if you ever do come across this guy Chud the Builder, for those who do live in Texas, ignore the dude. Keep it moving. Don't react to him. Don't give him no kind of time of the day. Don't even respond verbally to him. Just keep it moving, and don't give him no content. Just keep going on about your day. But for those who he came across, he had some people some jakes that was laughing around with him and kissing ass and joking around with him. You had one nigga, I didn't really watch the video, but I heard about it. Apparently he was agreeing with him and demoralizing himself. But you had other jakes that they reacted differently, man. I seen one video of Jake. He was at the gas station. He was like, "Hey, let me come here. Let me talk to you." And the thing about this dude, Chud the Builder, right? He knows that this is going to be a reaction, so he got a firearm on him, right? He got a pistol on him. So whenever he provokes Jake, and Jake be like, reacting negatively as they, naturally are gonna do, he'll brandish his firearm and say like, what you gonna do about it? So you're going out of your way to intentionally antagonize and provoke people. That's a crime. If anybody else, especially a so-called black man, did that, if an Israelite man did that, it would be completely different reactions and consequences behind that. Because not only are you antagonizing people using racial slurs, but then you go on to brandish your firearm to let them know, like, yeah, I'm gonna defend myself. If you try to attack me because you don't like what I'm saying, I'm gonna shoot you. This is what he's doing. So this dude is a agent provocateur, man. He's there to incite violence. He's there to provoke and stir up division, and to get Jake caught up and blamed, man. But that's an isolated situation. But we can take that and apply that into this truth, man, because it's going to be those type of people coming up around us, coming up to us. You know, certain brothers may go through that type of situation as well. It may be Edomite, it may be a Jake, it may be another heathen. We're going to go through situations that we're going to have to exercise patience and discipline and wisdom in. Right? When Yahweh Shah said we are sent forth in the midst of wolves as sheep, therefore we are to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. That's throughout this whole walk, man. That's throughout this whole walk. We're sent forth as wolves, people that are predators, people that are going out of their way to get you caught up, people that will go out of their way to try to get you out of character and get you to react in a way that's going to make you look bad and it's going to put you in trouble. So we have to take heed and be mindful and prepare for that type of interaction that we could possibly have, because that can be anybody and it can be unexpected. You're not going to get a warning for that type of interaction. It's just going to happen, man. And we have to be able to analyze the situation, see it for what it is, and move accordingly when shit like that happens, man. Because if you come across the right person, man, that dude, he's going to get what he got coming, man. The Lord is going to judge that dude. Okay? Yahweh Shemel Shah is going to judge that Edomite, Chud the builder. Right? But just for our sakes, man, we ought to exercise wisdom, man. What we preach about, we have to live it. We have to practice it, not just be speaking on it. Okay? But I looked up on ChatGPT, right? What is the crime called when an individual intentionally and deliberately antagonizes a person using racial slurs and then draws a firearm on them? And this is what ChatGPT said. Right? Obviously it's all it all depends on the jurisdiction, whatever particular state you live in and the laws of that state. You even have certain county laws and city laws that's different. The reason that Edomite is so bold and so um, open in doing what he was doing is because he lives in the state of Texas. Texas is known for its stand your ground laws, just like Florida. Texas also has a heavy defense laws, and it's open carry, and situations are very sensitive out there. You can get in a situation, and if you fear for your life, regardless if you start some shit and you the one that incited that situation, causing you to have to fear for your life, you could possibly be exonerated if you end up getting arrested and going to court, and you had to use your firearm on somebody. You could possibly be exonerated and get off because it was a stand your ground. It was self-defense. So that's why he's so bold in doing it, because he lives in the state of Texas. And we know Texas is a very racist state. The state of Texas is Edomite heavy. Even though it's a lot of Jake out there, it's Edomite heavy. And it always plays in the favor of Edomites, just like the majority of America, pretty much America, period. But certain states are more, more pro Edomite, if you will, right? It don't matter. You still got sundown towns, man. But going back to the response I got from ChatGPT, and it says aggravated assault, right? That could be one of the crimes, depending on the laws and how the lawmakers look at it. It can be aggravated assault, threatening someone with a deadly weapon, even if no shots are fired. Okay. Then again, we talking about an Edomite. So the same laws that apply to Jake don't apply to Edomites. Sometimes, the law will be executed to the full extent against an Edomite, but most of the time, no. Okay, so what he's doing is considered assault with assault, aggravated assault. Even though he didn't, I haven't seen any videos of him actually pointing a gun, but we don't know what's going on behind that camera. He never shows it, but everybody know that he has a firearm. He makes it known that he has a firearm. Okay, so I don't know if he actually pointed it at Jake or if he just showed it. He brandished it. Still, you're threatening somebody. And in all of these videos, he's the one that draws his firearm first. Jake get aggressive, they get upset, and they get to cussing him out and talking shit back to him. But he's the one that actually pulls and draws his firearm. That's aggravated assault. The other one, it says menacing or criminal threatening, intentionally placing someone in fear of imminent danger, right? These Jakes is minding their business, going about their day, whether they be at the store, at the park, walking down the street, wherever. He just randomly comes up to them. Hey, look at you. You chimping out or what? Hey, and then Jake get to getting aggravated, and he like, look at this nigger chimping out. What you gonna do, nigger? Is that not provocation? Is that not inciting violence? Are you not looking for trouble? Okay, and then you go on to brandish you pull your firearm as if to say, I wish you would do something. At that point, it's not self-defense. You going out of your way to start trouble, and then you pull your firearm. You're the problem. Oh, but he's an Edomite. Hate crime enhancement. If racial slurs and racial motivation are involved, prosecutors may add hate crime charges or sentence enhancements. And it's not a secret. He's blatantly doing this. He's blatantly going up to Jake, and we all know the reference that he's using when he said, "Oh, you chimping out." He's trying to call Jake a monkey. It's a racial slur. And then he called them niggers multiple times. Oh, I'm not antagonizing nobody. It's freedom of speech. You got a lot of Edomites commenting. They find it amusing. They're laughing at it. They encouraging it. They want to see more because of the grounds of freedom of speech. But it is what it is. That's nothing new. You shouldn't let that word water down, man. You shouldn't let that word affect you anymore as an Israelite. But Jake's simple. Jake they still got some animosity as well. Hey, it's enmity between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. That's what it was prophesied to be. There's going to always be hatred between Jake and Esau, Israelites and Edomites, always. All right, and you got some random Edomite coming up to you, disturbing your day, calling you a nigger and a chimpanzee. Of course, it's going to make you upset. Of course, it's going to make you mad. But that's why we have wisdom, right? Now, it didn't happen to brothers or anything like that, but just the thought of it's a possibility. It may not be Chud the Builder. It might be another nigga Edomite that come up to you and try to provoke you. He may get in your face. He may call you all these different racial slurs to provoke you. If he puts his hands on you, that's when you're able to defend yourself and go all in. But if he don't put his hands on you, just keep it moving. If he don't obstruct your walk, if he don't obstruct your path, and he don't try to block you in or intimidate you in a way that you feel like you fear for your life, keep it moving. When you begin to fear for your life and you feel like you're under an actual threat, that's when you can defend yourself. All right, and record everything. You have to record everything nowadays, whether it be with Edomites, women. You have to record shit nowadays, man. to cover your ass. It says, and that is a hate crime, because look, if he was to do that in a Jewish neighborhood, shit would be a whole lot different. He would not have even all those videos he posted. He got hella videos. He a so-called streamer or whatever. First of all, if he was to go to a Jewish neighborhood and do that, his stream account would be shut down. He wouldn't have all those videos. He would immediately be under fire and scrutiny, and he would already be going through a legal process of hate speech. If he was to go to a Jewish neighborhood and get to calling them names and racial slurs and then that's two crimes in one, maybe even more. I just read to you the possible crimes that you can be under depending on the state and jurisdiction you're in. You going out of your way antagonizing people, that's one. You calling them racial slurs, that's hate crime, that's two. You brandishing your firearm when there's no threat to your life at all, that's three. On top of whatever other, intricate details in the law that they can throw at you. But that's why we have to exercise wisdom, man. All right. It says disorderly conduct or harassment. You're harassing people. He followed them. He follows them around. It says for the intentional racial antagonizing itself. Okay. It says if a person provoked the confrontation using racial slurs and then escalated it by drawing a firearm, many states would treat that as a serious violent offense, especially if witnesses, video, or threats are involved, which all of those are. Okay. So I asked, what are the circumstances specifically in the state of Texas? All right. And it says a person who intentionally provokes someone with racial slurs, then draws or displays a firearm could potentially face several criminal charges depending on the circumstances. Okay. Number one, disorderly conduct. All right. It says disorderly conduct in the state of Texas, Penal Code 42.01. Texas law makes it a crime to display a firearm in a manner calculated to alarm in a public place. This situation with Chad the Builder, it falls into that category. Whether he points the firearm or he just displays it, which he displays it in every situation. He's going out of his way to intimidate and to he's very aggressive, and he does it in the form of intimidation. All right, like it just said, under the Penal Code 42.01, man. It makes it a crime to display a firearm in a manner calculated, meaning premeditated, to alarm in a public place. Racial slurs and threatening behavior can strengthen the argument that the firearm was displayed to intimidate or provoke fear. But when he was talking about this interaction that he had with the FBI, he just said, "Oh, the FBI they had to talk with me. They took all my phones to gather evidence, right? Because apparently he's under investigation. But they took all his phones and they just had to talk with him. He wasn't arrested, but they just said, oh, quote unquote, well, we have nothing on you, but just man to man, father to father, we don't want to see you get hurt. We don't want to see you get killed." This is what he's saying. This agent, this federal agent that he spoke to told him, "Oh, we're going to have a talk with you, man. We don't have anything on you." What you mean you don't have anything on him? He's recording it himself. It'll be different. It won't be different, but it will be less severe if somebody outside of himself recorded the situation. He himself is recording the situation. He himself is telling you what he's going to do. He's going out of his way to provoke Jake, and he's recording it himself. So that means it's intentional. It's deliberate. Okay. But he said the feds was like, "Oh, well, we don't have anything on you, but just, between man to man, between us, we don't want to see you get hurt. Because either way this goes, whether you have to defend yourself in this situation and use your firearm against somebody else, or whether somebody take you out, it's going to cause a riot. It's going to cause, pretty much insurrection. There's going to be violence in the streets, and we don't want to see that happen. So for your sake, cut that shit out." He should not have gotten a warning. It should have been criminal charges against this nigga. But he's an Edomite. Okay? So he's upset. He's all down because he can't do it no more. He can't go out of his way to antagonize people. And it's like, where do you I can't even say that, where you draw the line, because the line been drawn. When you went out of your way, when you made the decision to go provoke people like that, you have to know that can go left real fast, depending on who you talk to. Listen, we are in very sensitive times right now, and people are fucking unstable. Jake already stressed out and going through it. So you have to know that you going to Jake and saying this type of stuff is gonna go somewhere bad. So he got a death wish. And he got the nerve to say, oh, well, he admitted that he knows that this can go bad. He said, I know it can go left, but I have faith in the Lord that it won't go all the way there and it won't get that bad. How fucking dare you? But we know their God is not our God. Okay. Number 2, it says aggravated assault. Under Texas Penal Code 22.02, if the firearm is pointed at someone, used to threaten them, or causes a person to reasonably fear imminent serious bodily harm, prosecutors may charge aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, which is a felony. Now, like I said, I didn't see him actually point the weapon, but we don't know if he did or not. But to brandish it and use it as a means to threaten or provoke fear, that's aggravated assault. You don't have to fire your firearm. Okay, you went out of your way to provoke. You are going out of your way to cause intimidation. Hate crime enhancement. Texas allows sentence enhancements if prosecutors prove the crime was motivated by bias or prejudice against race, ethnicity, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, disability, or similar precedented categories. Again, if this was to happen, if he was to go to a Jewish neighborhood and do that, what you think they're gonna yell? AS. If you know, you know. If a so-called black man was to go to an Edomite neighborhood and do the same thing, if you go out of your way to provoke this man or provoke Edomites, calling them all kind of racial slurs, oh, you hunky, you cracker, you peck of wood and this and that. If you got to calling them all these type of names, and then when they get mad and they brandish their fire, and then Jake brandishes firearm, what the fuck the police is gonna be there in 2 minutes. Okay? The police is gonna be there in 2 minutes. Without a doubt. All right. So we understand what's going on, man. This man was set up. All right, he was set up. Let me get this. Psalm 73 and verse 1. I'm gonna read verse 1 through 5 in the GNT. It says, the Most High is indeed good to Israel, to those who have pure hearts. But I have nearly lost my confidence. My faith was almost gone. And this is in the GNT, by the way. Salaki. It says, but I have nearly lost my confidence. My faith was almost gone, because I was jealous of the proud when I saw that things go well for the wicked. They do not suffer pain. They are strong and healthy. They do not suffer as other people do. They do not have troubles that others have. And what are those troubles that the Israelite man has that the Edomite man don't have? Edomites, they get away with murder, literally. But as the saying goes, they get away with so many more things that otherwise, if it was done by an Israelite man, oh, the law will be executed to the full extent against that man. How many times have you had situations where an Edomite killed an Israelite man and got off? There is no number. It's countless amounts of events that took place like that. You had a I don't think he was an Israelite, but this dude was killed, right? He was like a Instacart driver, or he was delivering and shit like that. He went to the wrong address, and he was lost. I guess he was looking for where to go, and he was in his car, but he was on the property of this Edomite. The Edomite came out, didn't ask no questions. He fired a shot. He fired one single shot Well, he showed his firearm first, and then the dude drove off. He fired a shot the dude, I think in the back or in the back of the head, one of the two, as he was driving off. He didn't have no charges against him. Got off. Okay. The Edomite cop, the Edomite lady cop, the bitch was drunk. She went into the wrong house, the wrong apartment, and then Jake came out, right? A Jake man, an Israelite man came out. She thought that this man was intruding in her house. She shot and killed this man. And then she didn't suffer no, she didn't, I believe she didn't, she got arrested, but I don't think she had any charges filed against her. Like, she got off. So this is the privilege, as they call it, white privilege, that is very present in this time, man. Because guess what? This is not our kingdom. This is Esau's kingdom. So of course you're not going to suffer the same things, or you're not going to be given the same leniency as Esau is given, man. Okay? They're not in trouble as other men. So the fact that the FBI got involved, the FBI don't get involved in little shit. They don't just get involved in little everyday crimes, little petty shit. They get involved when this shit gets serious and it becomes above the pay rate, right? Out of the jurisdiction of law enforcement, local law enforcement. When the FBI get involved, just know it's serious. But the feds don't waste their time. But the fact that the feds had a talk with this man, what is it to talk about? They're not even gonna come out unless they have some evidence or some means to come out. But the fact that they just took his phones and told him, hey, chill out. You don't need the FBI to tell you to chill out. The local law enforcement can tell you to chill out. But this man is an agent. 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up against another. And swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men. All right, and let me go into that word sedition real quick, because that's also something that has to come to pass. This is a prophecy that I just read. There's going to be sedition among men. There's going to be infighting. There's going to be more and more division, as the Lord wants it to be. And there's going to be fighting, civil war. There's going to be something that takes place that's going to cause race riots. We don't know what that's going to be, but it's going to be. All right. And that can also be considered a terroristic threat, man. If you threatening somebody with violence, with the intention of placing them in fear of bodily injury, harm, yes, that can be a terroristic threat, man. All right. So sedition is, let me make sure this thing don't mute me. Okay. Sedition is the act of inciting revolt, rebellion, or insurrection. Insurrection is a violent uprising, i.e., race riots. Okay, the act of inciting, right, provoking revolt, rebellion, or insurrection against an established government or lawful authority through speech, writing, or organization, right? And it's not necessarily inciting against the government or any organization, but it's inciting violence against so-called blacks and so-called whites. So that is sedition. Okay, those actions that he's doing are seditious. All right. So back to 2nd Esdras 15 and 15, right? Or excuse me, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Now this is, when it's in full effect, when it's in the heat of things. That's when it's going to be real. It's going to be anarchy. It's going to be complete lawlessness. It's going to be complete violence, because law enforcement is not going to be available. Okay, you're not going to be able to call 911. You're not going to be able to, hey, people going to take things into their own hands. And this is when shit gets serious. All right. But that type of shit is leading up to that, because right now you have the provocation. The scripture says, man, Judah is a lion's whelp. Who shall rouse him up? Stuff like that leads to race riots. Jake is unstable. Jake don't have patience. They don't have discipline. They don't. They're not able to see through Esau's bullshit. Right? The scriptures tell you, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, we are not ignorant of his devices. We know what Esau planned on doing. He wants to see provocation. He wants an excuse to use his firearm. He wants an excuse to exercise his blessing, which is the sword. We see that. We know that. But the average Israelite man don't know that. They don't know how to turn the other cheek, man. The scriptures tell us, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. And it says, matter of fact, let me get that. All right, let me get it. It's Romans 12:19. It says, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Oh, excuse me, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. So just know, the Lord is the angels. And the angels constantly reporting to them, Father, everything that's going on. The angels, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. The Lord see everything going on. If you got somebody provoking you, antagonizing you, going out of their way to give you hell, the Lord is watching. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to match their energy. Just keep it moving. Pray to the Lord. Throw up curses on their ass. But don't stoop down to their level. And then next thing you know, you're the one looking bad because you wasn't able to keep your spirit in check. And that go for all of us. We all have been in situations where we was tested, especially against Edomites. I know I personally have been in situations, especially more so when I was fresh in the truth. I remember when I first came into the truth, I was living at this apartment. This is when I stayed in Pittsburgh. And there was this Edomite that lived right next door to me. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just he went out of his way every day to antagonize me. And it was unprovoked on my end. I didn't speak to this man. We didn't have any conversation or anything, but he went out of his way to antagonize me. And me being fresh in the truth, it was hard because I'm gonna keep it real. I was about to put hands on him. I wanted to put hands on him, but he didn't want to fight me. And I'm glad he didn't because I would have, it would have got bad for him. And then I would have been in a whole nother situation. I thank Yahweh Shem Yahushua for not allowing me to fight that man because, I would have, I'm gonna just leave it at that. But that would have caused me to be at risk of being charged with assault because Esau, they love to provoke shit, start shit, and then be the ones to call the police and play victim. That's what Esau do. He starts shit and then he plays victim. And that's what this guy Chud the Builder is doing. It was a video where he went out of his way to antagonize Jake. Jake went to his car like, hey, let me holler at you. The next thing you know, the scene changed and he's on the phone with the police. Why are you calling the police? You started it. But I digress. This is why we have to exercise wisdom, patience. It can be hard. It's not just gonna be easy, but it's doable, man. We have to. Back to Romans 12:19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine. The vengeance is the Lord's. The Lord gonna take care of everything, man. We don't have to do anything. The Lord is gonna, bring judgment onto those who cause harm to us. He's gonna trouble those who trouble us. He's gonna be an adversary to those who are our adversaries. But we have to wait. That's in due time. And when the Lord give us spiritual power, when this kingdom get brought down, he's going to bring to mind all the people that came against us, that gave us hell, that went out of their way to disrupt our spirit in any kind of way. He's going to give us remembrance on that. I'm going to close out with this. Ezekiel 35 and verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and this is talking about Esau, all right, the Edomites, that nation of people. It's talking about them. Okay? Even though that hatred is between the Israelites and the Edomites and has been for generations, Esau goes out of his way to antagonize Jake. Jake ain't going out of his way to antagonize Edomites. Jake is a plain man. Jake should be chilling, staying out the way. But Esau goes out of his way because he likes violence. He likes trouble. Okay? He's the border of wickedness. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So Esau not gonna get away with it, right? And I pray that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua preserves Chud the builder until the day of destruction, so he can feel that second death, those ICBM nuclear missiles and the fire that come with it. I pray that the Lord preserves Chud the builder until the last day of this wicked ass kingdom. I don't want him to get mauled by a wild beast. I don't want him to get ran over by a car. I don't want him to overdose on fentanyl. I want him to be preserved until the day of evil, so that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua can personally visit that nigga. Lord willing, I pray this lesson was edifying. With that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Salutations, peace, blessings, and safety to the hopeful elect. DTA, Abba, Ball, come out, Till next time, Shalom.